What's going on out there, everybody? You know the music, you heard the music, you know what time it is. It is Hot Topics time. It's Wednesday, 7 p.m. You know what we do? We talk about stuff that some people don't like to talk about. We talk about stuff that's a tad bit controversial. We talk about things that, hey, nobody wants to talk about. But on our show, the motto is if it's hot, we're going to touch it. So guess what? Let us know that you're watching. Want you to like this, share this, spread this. Let somebody know that Hot Topics is on the air. We can't do the show by ourselves. We need your feedback. We need you to say something. We need you to disagree with us. We like it when you disagree because guess what? It is my opinion, even when it comes to the guests on this show, it is everybody's right to be wrong. That's my opinion. And so I just stick to that. It's your opportunity to be wrong. Listen, I don't do this show by myself. We're a little light today, but we're still going to have a good time because you get to see what's going on in the Austin's house. It's just me and the bishop right now. And guess what? It's just like we do. Things get a little heated. We talk about things. So guess what? We just bringing the show live to you. Say hello to everybody, Miss Kimberly.
Hello, everybody.
So, it's just me and you tonight, at least kicking us off. And so, guess what? Guess people get to really see that some of the stuff we do is really not for show. It's how we talk, it's how we act around each other. So, guess what? I'm going to give you the first topic because guess what? This week has been an interesting week for the Austin household. It's been an interesting week for all those parents who live in Dade County. That's right. You know where I'm going. This was the first week of schools in Dade County. And whoo, I don't know. I haven't been home. So, Kimberly, tell us how it's been. How has it been? How have you been treating my son? Have you been making sure he's going to class? Have you been making sure all his work gets done? Tell us how has the first day of first week of school been?
Well, it's interesting you said you'll give me the first topic. Who else you gonna give it to? Um it's been an interesting week. We haven't had um too many bad experiences on our part at least. Of course we had some hiccups where we couldn't get on or we get on and we get kicked off, but for the most part it wasn't that bad. Um The first day we got on with no problem, hands down. First teacher, no problem. We got on early, of course, because my son has to be on time, so he was early, up and ready and excited. As like most kids, he was excited like
You
it was
got
the
that
regular
trait from
first
me,
day of
by the way,
school.
in case you're watching. Go ahead.
Anyway, so we got on. There wasn't any problems. He did a little activity. The teacher was kind of in and out with us interaction because she had a lot of kids that could get on. So she was messaging a lot of parents and class don't join and sending different messages trying to figure out help the other parents get on. So they were not able to get on the other parents. So I don't know how many kids in this class, but about seven of them got on. That was the first period. And then after that, they went on to the next, which was music. No problem. Less kids got on music. It was only three kids on music. And then after that, it went down from there. We were not able to get on in the afternoon. So we started back up the next day, same thing in the morning, but by afternoon time, for some reason we haven't been having much success. It's just been failure in the afternoon. So by the third day, which was today, all of the teachers issued out um messages or links of other ways to do it via Zoom or Microsoft Teams Zoom. And so today he actually had a pretty successful day. He went through everything except PE. And this is just my opinion. I don't think the coach is trying to find his class. I think coach is just kind of going with the something not
You about to get
something
somebody in trouble. See, you about to get.
because
Oh
the
my!
class is popping up and it's sitting there and all the kids are there and it's saying that somebody should be there and nobody's there, but that's just my opinion. So I'm okay with how it's been going for me, but that's just my experience. However, my son has been more frustrated than me because he's been anxious, just like most kids about their first day of school, first week of school, new grade, especially after being out of school so long. He gets more depressed or more frustrated than me because he's like, what kind of teacher don't want to meet their kids? I'm ready. So he think it's personal, and I spend most of my time trying to tell him something that I'm laughing at the comment. I spend most of my time trying to explain to him that people are having problems and he don't really understand that. So trying to get him to understand that people are having problems is kind of difficult. Let me see what she said. Yeah, Peaches, I agree because I have had an effort from all the teachers. The PE teacher even sent a Zoom link and a Zoom number. Now, Zoom ain't been connected to none of this other stuff. And the kids went on
Oh
Zoom
boy!
today and they
See,
sat there.
oh boy!
All the kids was there, but no
Oh,
PE coach was on Zoom. But hey, I'm not going to call and report them or nothing. I'm just going to go with the flow.
so you
But
mean to tell me somebody who is getting paid to sit on a Zoom call? You mean to tell me you think this man? Oh, did I say man? This person, this individual
man,
is
he a
ducking and
man.
dodging. I just don't believe that that is possible. Are you really suggesting that a teacher doesn't want to teach his class?
I'm not suggesting it. I'm just stating the facts of what it seemed like from my perspective and how it is. So
Yeah, she
I'm
is
just
snitching.
saying.
She is snitching on the teacher.
I'm just stating the facts. I'm just stating the
She is
facts.
snitching. I mean,
I ain't mad at them.
it is people that are no longer with us who've done
Okay.
less snitching than you have already in the first 5 minutes of the show.
And you
Oh
see
man.
Nancy comments right there. There go Nancy comments. Put Nancy comments on. It's not the curriculum teachers, it's the special teachers. That's all I'm saying. Because I guess they don't think they have the same accountability. I don't know. But I'm just saying for my son, he been looking forward to these stuff. And OC made a comment, maybe he doesn't know technology. I was a teacher, and the first thing I told my husband is the PE coaches, I'm gonna be surprised if they show up. That's the first thing I said. Cause in my experience and being in the
You teachers
classroom,
always have it in for the PE
that's the
coach. Ever
those
since
are the
I was in
teachers
school,
that
they
don't.
always hated the PE coach. They always thought that the PE coach was the laziest person around. It's you teachers who think just because you know reading, math, and arithmetic or whatever the word is. I guess I need to go back to school. That the
Amen.
PE
Absolutely.
coach doesn't do anything. I
I
just
didn't say he
believe.
didn't do anything. I didn't say they. Oh, they have a teacher. Somebody said they don't have a teacher. They have a teacher. His name is Coach. But I ain't gonna say nothing.
Thank you, Lord.
Um,
Oh
it's
God, I
on
thought you was
there.
gonna. This man's
The
got to feed his family. Lord Jesus.
the Zoom open up. It shows his name. The link came saying that the teacher gonna be on the Zoom. And nobody. Now the music teacher, she was there. They sung a song. They gave out a supply list, but she pretty serious about her work ethic. So yeah,
So,
but
so speaking of this subject, there's a lot of parents out there. I leave you with the kids because this is your thing. You're a former school teacher, so I figure if there's any problems, you just go to the shed and whip out one of those old books and just start teaching again. But
whatever.
for those that don't have a teaching background, for those who may be home with their grandparents or nannies or other people who may not be as well versed in education or how to teach their children, what are some of the advice that you would give them during this period of time where there's a lot of adjustments that need to be made?
Well, first of all, be patient because it take a lot of patience. And if you get frustrated, the kids see you getting frustrated, they're gonna be frustrated. Monitor and watch what you say. Because when you say it, they listening, and that's the attitude or the mentality that they're gonna say. Because I hear people saying, "Oh, Dade County is trying to do this." So of course, that's what the kids are gonna adapt, or they're trying to whatever. And like you said, have something on the side that they could do. Now, I can't say if your child is in Dade County, the K through 12, you can still go online because his reading teacher is something they're called course. Course is a bunch of what they call brain pop activities. And it's like it's a week one brain pop, week two brain pop. His teacher has told him, if you don't see me, log on course and complete all those activities. Now those are working. The only part that wasn't working was the being able to connect with the teacher because that took internet access. But the section that says course, when you click on online learning, it's there. And the kids have activities. So he's been working all day, and we didn't have a problem with that. In fact, she told him she wanted him to be so far by Friday. And to my understanding, all of the kids have that accessibility to be able to do that. Now y'all talking about snitching on the teacher, the coaches and the teachers. Let me tell y'all parents something. This ain't all Dade County neither, cause some of y'all using my child can't get in to account for the fact that you don't even want to start the next week anyway. So let's be real, because some parents thought I was gonna get up Monday, my child was gonna click on and be a breeze, and it wasn't no breeze. So you guys are not fighting it out. But in Dade County Defense, they had a webinar that happened a whole week ago, and I know a lot of parents didn't go on that webinar. It was a 2-hour webinar walking you through what to do, and some of y'all ain't log on there and do it, and y'all want to sit there and say, "Well, Dade County ain't letting them in," because once you saw the news, you figure you ain't finna get frustrated. Well, the same attitude y'all
So now you
taking,
snitching on the
don't be
parents?
the
Oh,
same attitude y'all taking. Don't be surprised when your children have that same attitude. So my advice is to push through. You can't sit there and blame the system on your children, because it's very important that we encourage the children to follow through with this, because they have to get that structure. They've been out of school for far too long, and you're not helping them if you one of them parents that's just kind of going with the flow saying it don't work. You got to try more than one time. My son teacher said try at least 5 or 6 times before you give up. So I'm just saying, try. Don't just say, child, it ain't working.
now we heard today from Superintendent Cavallo. Which I like Cavallo. As I told you before, Mr. Cavallo was my William H. Turner Tech. He was my AP. So he's always been a great guy. I've always known that he was going to go very far in the career of education. But he said that, along with Comcast, gave a joint statement that Dade County Public Schools has been hacked. And there's some rumors going around trying to suggest, is that valid? What is the validity of the hack? And some are suggesting that they're hacking the school systems is a conspiracy theory because they're really trying to force the kids to go back to school. Bishop, what do you think about that? Is that just we just gone too far? Or what is that?
Sorry, I just had to take a eating break off of that. Um, I think that's ludicrous, because if you are a parent at Dade County Public School, for the people that don't know, Dade County parents took a survey at the end of last school year. You had to say, if my kid is coming back to school when it get to phase two, or if when it get to phase two, my kid's gonna stay home. So if Dade County was to go back tomorrow in phase two, some children are still gonna have to do this K-12, because if you signed your child up to stay home in phase two, that means you don't want your child back in the building until this completely over. And if you watch that 2-hour webinar, which I did, it explained to you that no matter what happened, if your kids stay home, they still got to do this. So what do they have to gain by pushing these kids back when you still have to do the K-12? Because many of the parents still chose to keep their child home. So that goes back to exactly what I was saying. The energy you put out there about the online learning is the energy that the child's gonna take. So just be careful You could say what other people said and things like that, but be careful from saying that around your child, because that's the energy that they're gonna take, and they're gonna feel like it's not even worth them making the effort. So I think that's just a bunch of bull. And I do know personally, a lot of these teachers work hard trying to learn what it is that they had to learn in a short time. Miami-Dade County pushed their school year back. Now I do know the superintendent, he said it himself. He did not want this. Many people did not want this. So that was one of the reasons for pushing the school year back. And when they went into this week, and my son's teacher said the same thing, they went into this week because Monday is a day off. So they went into this week saying, give the people a chance to adapt to the system. And then when they come back on Tuesday, hopefully, if it was any kinks, like in terms of the kids getting familiar, it will be ready to go by Tuesday. And if we remember when it was spring break and the kids shut down, Dade County did the same thing. They sent them home a week early. Before spring break, they kept them home. They gave them busy work and things like that to play around with the system. And the teachers kept saying, we're not grading, we're not grading. So they're doing everything they can to get the children comfortable and ready to go. So I just don't believe, I could be wrong, that somebody would go through all that to make people comfortable, to make stuff accessible, to give people Zoom meetings and all this other stuff that they've been giving kids just to set them up for failure.
Now,
Or just to
I don't think
prove
they're
a
saying
point.
that the school board. I think they're saying it's outside influences to suggest to push a political agenda to suggest that, of course, remember now, Mr. Cavallo has played his hands and said he would not go back until the schools or until we're gonna, which leads us to our next subject, to the COVID-19 results are more favorable.
And I want to
And
talk
so
about that next subject, so let's go.
and so some are suggesting that, hey, remember now, we're in this mess because of something called COVID 19. I know if you're living in South Florida and you're in the United States of America, you probably haven't heard of this in a while. But guess what? We're in this
Pandemic.
season because of COVID 19. When was the last time we've gotten a press conference? When was the last time we've heard some real data about COVID 19? Has it disappeared as the president has been telling us for weeks? What has happened? Where are we in this
Now,
pandemic? Do we know?
now, one thing I do want to say, I got this from some reliable sources too. So I kind of believe about that political agenda because some reliable sources, teachers themselves have told me that Dade is not the only county having problems. Broward went back a few weeks ago. Of course, we know they got through their problems, and I'm not even talking about Broward. Palm Beach, they're saying is doing worse than Dade. However, we don't hear about Palm Beach on the news. They're like the Stoneman area. We only report what we want to report and things like that. And you would think that Palm Beach would be reporting about school. Nobody hear about Palm Beach. We just want to talk about good old Dade because like Pastor said, the superintendent made it be known how he felt. So it's easy to make a showcase out of Dade. But Palm Beach is having just as many problems, if not more problems than Dade. And it's being pushed under the rug. It's not making as much news. And the teachers are just as frustrated. And unlike Dade, Palm Beach is not giving their teachers additional resources to go and do this, go and do that. It's just make it happen, make it work. Just like anything else that go on at Palm Beach, compared to Dade. So yeah, I kind of believe that it might be a bit of a political. And then while we're talking about Palm Beach, let's talk about those numbers. All of a sudden, these numbers are just dropping. I mean, they're dropping like I don't even know. Nobody like planes out of the sky. Okay, they're going like just last week Friday, we might have had 2,000 something cases, at least 1,500. Let's just say 1,500 cases. Come Monday, the day school supposed to start, we was down to 500 cases. I ain't buying it. I'm just saying, that's just my opinion. And if you also notice, when you look at the case, you got Dade County with 500. another county, Broward, with 3 something. They always gonna keep Dade and Broward up there because we the two biggest to try to make it seem like the numbers are making sense. Monroe won. Okay, fine. They throw Poe Monroe on in there because they close to Dade. However, I have never ever seen, even when the numbers was high, them say Palm Beach got this many cases. That's just ludicrous to me. Nothing gets reported about Palm Beach, which is the political central of Broward County. That's just crazy to me. That's
Well,
just not adding
we
up.
know who we now we know that there's a certain man of power that resides in Palm Beach County. Let's not forget he makes his home there in the Palacious Hills of Palm Beach County. And so therefore he dare not show data of his town being infested with COVID-19, let us say, there in Mar-a-Lago. But go ahead. I
My
just thought
logo.
I would just thought I would put that out there. Maybe coincidence. Maybe that's why. Even though it's the county that have made national news because they're the ones that don't want to wear the mask. They don't want to social
Right.
distance. They don't want to do all of this
Absolutely.
stuff. And
Absolutely.
I don't think it's so far fetched that our beloved Mr. Guy in charge right now resides there. And so therefore
4 plus 5.
you will not hear anything negative come out of Palm Beach County. But,
Right.
I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but that just very well be one. But I just find it very odd to me that the closer we get to the election, the closer we get to debates happening here in South Florida, the less we hear. And I'm not suggesting that the numbers can't go down. I pray that they are going down. What scares me is we're just not hearing anything, good,
Right.
bad, or indifferent. That's the thing
Right.
that's kind of scary to me because I believe if the numbers were that favorable, I haven't seen a political ad stating that they're more favorable. I just believe that if they were as great as we've been led to believe, since we're not hearing anything, then I think we would have really been known. I think that certain people would have been touting those numbers every chance they get. Because guess what? We know that our president likes to give us video. We know that when he feels that something is favorable, he likes to give us video. And I'm going to show you a video right now that proves this point. Let me show it to you.
Protesters confronted Republican Senator Rand Paul.
We have an incredible opportunity to fundamentally transform the country.
Now, speaking of videos and data that seems to show some good things happening, we just saw a nice video of a couple of police being, those things being thrown at them, some riots in the streets. And the commercial is leading me to believe that these are the things that would happen if Joe Biden was the president. Let me ask you a question, Kimberly. Who's the president right now?
Homie the clown.
And so for Mr. Clown, why is he acting as if he's the one that's trying to get in office and Joe Biden is the incumbent? Because he's constantly telling us that these are the things that would happen if Joe Biden was president, but it just seems to me that things are happening now. That Mr. Clown, is in office. Explain, help me to understand that. Maybe I'm missing something. And guys, again, if I'm missing something, tell me. Maybe I'm missing it. I don't know. Help me out. Help me out.
I think the thing about it is, in order for him to talk about the fact, he have to come out of denial. And the guy is in denial, okay? He doesn't want to acknowledge things as they are because it would do something that's been going on the whole time, contradict everything he says, which he contradicts everything anyway. Everything he says cancels something out. It's to the point now, if his mouth is open, he's lying, okay? So I think that it's easy to play off for other people because that's what he's done his whole short political career. He played off for other people. It's easy to say, well, you. Anytime a case come up, just like the virus, the China virus, the Chinese did this, the this did that. The name calling is typical of a child. That's what children typically do. And that's what the man really is. A old man trapped in a child's body. He's 45, but he's really in reality 4 plus 5, which is 9. So, Sir 9 is acting just like 4 plus 5 instead of acting like 45, the leader of the free country or the free world. But that's just my opinion. So he chooses to play off because he has the mentality of a child. And that's what children do. They look to everything else except for what's in front of them. If my 2 sons get in trouble and I'm addressing one of them, for example, you could tell a child, pick that shoe up. Oh, but Noah put that shoe there and they don't feel like they have to pick it up because they didn't put it there. Well, my statement was not, pick the shoe up because you put it there. My statement was pick the shoe up. And that's what kids do. And that's what 45 do. So he doesn't want to, 4 plus 9 do. He doesn't want to acknowledge this is this because then I have to deal with it. Part of coming out of denial is dealing with what's at hand. And he chooses to stay in the state that he's in. Because he has too many people around him condoning and supporting the foolishness. And nobody is forcing him to deal with reality. And the truth be told, many people's long-term political careers are going to come to an end when 4 plus 9 leaves office because they put their rabbits in his hat. And they took a gamble with their political careers. So they might as well just go ahead and retire because people are going to see them for who they really are.
Things are getting real heated up, and I've been a little leery, and I've said this privately, and I'll say it publicly for the sake of our show. At one point, it just seems, last week or so, it seemed like, Joe Biden was kind of living up to that name, Sleeping Joe. It seemed like, he come out and defend yourself, come out and say something. Mr. 9, as you call him, has been on attack. He's been attacking, and it just seemed like Biden has just kind of been sitting. But I think yesterday or the day before, he came out with his own ad. This is what he came out with.
This is Trump's America. He won't bring us together. He doesn't want to, and never will. He only divides, inflames, infuriates, and tears people apart, always making things worse. It's Trump's America. And it's time to turn the page.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Yeah, you see, Biden has been able to use the circumstances of this present day to show America we're living in Trump's America right now. And it is amazing how he has been able to pull the wool over everybody's eyes, because I said on another show, I'm starting to call him the magic man, because he's miraculously raining on somebody else, and he's peeing on us over here, but then telling us that it's going to rain over there, and it's just been amazing. But I when I saw
Did
this
you say
ad,
peeing?
Yes, peeing, peeing, pee. Yeah,
Wow.
I didn't say the derivative word of that. Yeah, but that's what he's been doing, and I just like this ad because this ad at least makes me understand that someone is seeing what I'm seeing. Because every time I see one of these Trump commercials, I'm like, wait a minute, this is you're just showing current events and you're trying to say this is what will happen. These are not clips, these are not edited clips, these are not animated movies, these are clips of actual events happening right now, and you're trying to tell me as a voter that this is what will happen if you vote for somebody else. You know what I really hate in life, Kimberly? I hate when people insult my intelligence. That really gets up under my skin. It doesn't matter to me whether you're black or white, Democrat or Republican, but whatever you do, don't insult my intelligence. Don't think that I am an informed voter. Don't think that I'm just going to go with something just because you said. You have to understand, and this is for both parties, that you have intelligent people that know, that read, that study. And if you're going to earn votes, we have to learn how to do it with integrity. Because if not, you're just going to be the laughing stock and you're going to have people calling you number 9 because that's just how you're acting. You're just kicking the can down the road. So, yeah, it's just interesting. The president had an interesting week because we talked about this last week about Mr. Kyle Rittenhouse. And so finally, it's often delayed, but somebody gets enough courage to ask our beloved number 9, hey, this Kyle Ritter guy, what do you think about it? This is the young 17-year-old, 17-year-old who drove 30 miles to help out the police, and somehow, some way, he killed 2 people, was able to go back and sleep in his own bed, and when Mr. 9 was asked about how he felt, this was his
Are you going to
response.
condemn the actions of vigilantes like Kyle Rittenhouse?
Well, we're looking at all of it. That was an interesting situation. You saw the same tape as I saw, and he was trying to get away from them, I guess, it looks like, and he fell, and then they very violently attacked him. And it was something that we're looking at right now, and it's under investigation. But I guess he was in very big trouble. He would have been. He probably would have been killed. But it's under investigation.
Do you think private citizens should be taking guns?
I'd like to see law enforcement take care of everything. I think everything should be taken care of, law enforcement. But again, we have to give our cops back, our police back, their dignity, the respect. They're very talented people. They're strong. They're tough. They can do the job. But we've taken it away. We don't want to have, when somebody makes a mistake, he chokes. Or in some cases, you have bad cops, so we have to take care of that. In other cases, they choke. They have a quarter of a second to make a decision. And sometimes they make the wrong decision. If they make the wrong decision, if they make the wrong decision in the other direction, they're probably dead. So they choke sometimes. And that goes on the evening news for weeks. And the thousands and tens of thousands of great things they do, nobody covers that. Nobody writes about that. But if they make a mistake, and again, the bad cops, everybody agrees they have to be very tough on bad cops. But sometimes you have a cop or a police person who is a good police person, right? Good. But they choke. The timing, and they go through this, and they study this, and they work on it all the time. They literally have a quarter of a second to make some of these decisions. And they make a wrong decision, and it's very devastating.
Let me ask you a
Jesus.
question. Why is it when you have the Kyle Rittenhouse and the George Zimmerman, why is it that we're always trying to link them to law enforcement officers? Because I distinctively heard the question being asked about Kyle. And somehow, some way, we got on a subject about police officers. Kyle was not a police officer. The question was, do you believe citizens should be performing the duties of a police officer? And all of a sudden, we get a whole speech about police officers. We get a whole speech about, oh my God, he could have died. Oh my God, they tried to attack him. What about, oh my God, he killed 2 of your American citizens, Mr. Nye? What about that? Isn't it amazing? I want to ask this question to you and the listening audience. Why is it, someone posed this question, I thought it was interesting. Why is it though, do the Black Lives Matter movement have to have an account for all the rioting and all the protests, but yet the NRA never has the answer to when a teenager is armed and strapped with an AR-15 rifle and goes up and shoots everybody to the point where the father of a victim is on a Republican National Convention and never mentions the NRA? Why is it such a contrast with white male, quote unquote, officers versus black men, quote unquote, thugs? What do you say, Bishop?
Well, first of all, I think I kind of answered your question earlier. That's how we came up with the number 9. It's a child's mentality. It has to be, I cannot answer what you want me to say because then I have to be held accountable. And the man knows nothing about accountability. And it's just easier to deflect onto something else because that's what he's been accustomed to doing in these press conferences, speaking about what he want to speak about, talking about what he want to talk about, saying what he want to say. When he's unable to do that, he did good because when he's unable to do that, he often leads to insult. At least he was able to switch it back and talk about the police and whatever he said about the police, which he repeated like 5 times. So you know he really didn't have nothing to say. He kept saying the same thing over and over again. But the part that struck out to me was not only did he not answer the question, he said that the man probably would have died anyway. He was probably going to get killed anyway. Okay? What kind of leader stands and say that? As a leader, when something happened on your watch, as a real leader, you take, even if you don't really feel it, you show empathy, you show compassion. He has yet to address those people's families or some of the families in the past, which I doubt if any of them really want to speak to him. Because the guy's family that recently died, he was scheduled to talk to him. They declined to meet with him because they wanted him to meet with their attorneys. And he said he wasn't meeting with anybody in their attorneys. So I commend that family because what people don't know, it was reported at the time that they were supposed to meet with the president and they declined to meet with the president because he didn't want to meet with their families. They went and held a voters registration drive to show you, Mr. President, this how we feel. That young man's family said, we refuse to make our son a part of your political pawn. If you don't want to meet with us this way under our circumstances, then we don't want to meet at all. And they took a stand. They didn't feel like, well, we have to meet with the president. And they held a voters registration drive to show him how they really feel about him and declining their meeting. Because you pretty much know they weren't looking for nobody that was going to vote for him. So, but back to that, he would have had to acknowledge that this kid did something. He would have, and then furthermore, he can't talk against the NRA. They paid for half of his campaign. Even when Stoneman Douglas happened back when it was in the middle of, I believe, the election year or right after, shortly after, the NRA pretty much wrote him and told him, this is going to be your stance. You're going to take this stance or we cutting you. And that's pretty much what he did. No laws was changed. Nothing wasn't changed. I don't know what Mr. Pollock
No, not according to Mr. Pollock. He got on the...
Listen. Pollock is as big an idiot as Trump, okay? He's the clown driving the clown around in his car, okay? He might as well be honking the horn, following the clown, because that's basically what he doing. That man changed no laws. And if he think about it, if he changed some laws, it was 17 or however many people died that day, you don't see nobody else following around but Polak. And a lot of those people was Republican in with the NRA, but they took a stand for the sake of their children at the expense of their children. Mr. Polak is selling himself out to have Trump must be promising something in 4 years. I won't be surprised if after this, if Trump thinks he's gonna get reelected, Polak gonna be something on his platform, because he's used to picking people that have no background and no kind of intelligence. That's his basic MO. So I won't be surprised.
Speaking of sellout, and it's interesting, we walk into this next subject because and this all ties in together. We know that because of what happened at Stoneman Douglas, it affected the BSO office. We know that the governor, Scott, at the time, removed the sheriff at the time, Scott Israel. And from that time on, Governor DeSantis came and really, held that stance and brought a new sheriff in, Sheriff Gregory Tony. And up until recently, the previous officer has been able to say that he was the elected sheriff of Broward County. Well, the election is gone. We have a new sheriff that has been voted in as the Democratic nominee for the Broward County Sheriff's Office. For the first time in the history of this campaign, there is a black nominee for sheriff. Now, here's some news for some of you that may not know this. There were two other brothers that were running in this election. One is named Mr. Al Pollock, and one is named Mr. Willie Jones. Now, normally when you have these kind of heated battles, we rally together and we're going to, for the sake of our party, we're going to go ahead and endorse or at least step back, and hopefully the candidate of our party will win. Well, recently, there was a news conference, and the Republican, a guy who many people don't know, a guy who has no law enforcement skills, was endorsed by yours truly, Mr. Al Pollock. The guy who put all that stuff out there about Tony and put all the stuff about the swinging, all the stuff about what happened when he was 14. The guy hoping to get some votes and got very, very little. Yeah, that guy. He has decided, remember that time when I was telling y'all, I'm the only real Democrat and I've never been Republican? He forgot all of that and decided that, yeah, let's endorse the Republican campaign because he's better than having a black Democrat in office. Kimberly, when you see something like this from a black gentleman who we said in shows past, it's been hard to see black men attack each other and tear each other down in this way, especially while others have been watching. But when we see the level that people will go just because they did not win, how does that make you look at Mr. Polak and Mr. Willie Jones? Who I know Willie Jones. I like Willie Jones. But this is who you decide to go with? Somebody who has no experience, who not even in your party? You're saying he's the best choice? All of a sudden, when you were trying to convince us a few months ago that you, the Democratic, was the best choice? What you think about that? What are we doing here? What are we doing?
God. I wish we had 3 people so I could have took more deep breaths. First of all, the look on those two guys that you saw, Willie Jones and Pollock. I don't even know his first name, so what that tell you?
Ow.
Al. Yeah. Uncle Al. The look on them speaks enough volumes. Nothing about them says, I'm running for nothing. The whole time both of them was running. Nothing about them said much. And the people of Broward County tend to have agreed. Because old Willie was further behind than Al. Okay? They were so far behind they couldn't catch each other. Okay? So that alone says enough. I don't really think we even need to waste a lot of energy talking about those two. But my point is, this is why we have the problem we have with 4-9 being our president. Because
4-5.
yeah, 4-5. What I said, 4-5, number 9. Being our president. Because the Democrats stick together. That's typically how they go. They go down party line and they stick together. Okay? They very rarely jump off with this divisiveness among their party. Not the Democrats, the Republicans. That's how Trump got there. Because Trump tried to be a Democrat for so long and he couldn't get anywhere. So he jumped ship because he knew the Republicans, once I can get to them, they gonna stick by me regardless. And that's what the Republicans do. Okay? They know 4-5 is what he is. And you can see it in some of the speeches when he say ridiculous stuff. They either just skip the convention, try to act like they don't know him. But
You
when
mean
they
like Mitch McConnell?
absolutely, you knew where I was going. They try to just do everything around him. For example, Lindsey Graham during the convention, he had to speak about Trump. Well, he did very little speaking about Trump, but because it was the Republican convention, he showed up. He didn't take the coward way out and didn't show up. But behind him was all of his vote for Lindsey Graham. He used that as a campaign moment. If y'all watched it and paid attention, he used it to campaign because in his heart of
Thank you for the
hearts,
free advertisement.
right, in his heart of hearts, he told himself, "I'm a Republican. I got to see this myself through." He just wasn't going to sell out his party. It meant enough to him to be behind the party. But he had nothing to say about Trump himself. Well, very few people had stuff to say about Trump at that convention other than his children. But anyway, that's why we in this situation we in now. And that's why I'm happy the people of Broward County saw through Mr. Al and
Uncle
Willie.
Al and Willie.
Yeah, saw through both of them
Willie.
to I didn't say that. I said Aunt Willie. Don't put no words. Anyway,
Okay.
I'm glad the people of Broward County saw through them. Now we just have to hope the people of Broward County or the Democrats of Broward County do some of the same things that the Republicans do. Stand with your party. Because the bottom line is, okay, some of y'all may not like Sheriff Tony. Some of y'all might be mad he took away the book bag giveaway in your community or whatever you mad about. But the truth of the matter is, this other man over here is a Republican. He's a lawyer. He's a Republican lawyer, okay? That means, and he has no law experience, okay? So he's already in the hole with how he really feel about us, okay? Pay attention. Okay, so even though, and we don't always agree, I'm not going to say I agree with everything Joe Biden thinks and Joe Biden do, but I look at the alternatives and I know what I got dealing with Joe and I know what I got dealing with Trump. Well, we got Sheriff Tony right here. We know what we got and we know he got some experience. Whether we agree with all of it, you're never going to find a candidate that you agree with at all. But the only option is to not vote. And my thing is, if you don't vote, then don't complain. Don't have nothing to say. But if you're a person and you know you want to be able to stand behind something and want to be able to say something and you know you're going to vote, then stand with your party or pay attention to the facts, okay? And the fact that these Democrats, I don't want to call them Willie and Al, jump ship like they did, and you saw how many votes they got, that speaks volumes about their credibility right there.
So
they didn't get enough votes to fill a church. So that says enough about them right there.
So are you
So
saying
wake
basically?
up, people.
Are you saying basically with their votes they don't even have enough votes to sway this election? Is that what you're really trying to? You
I
know,
didn't really
see,
say that, but
you,
I'm saying it speaks volumes. That's all I'm saying. It speaks volumes. Okay, they
but
just
here, you said something interesting. You know, the Mitch McConnells and others who they're sticking with party line, but they're distancing themselves from Trump because they understand Trump is just a different guy. He's a different cat. He's not a Republican, a Democrat. He's Trump. So you can appreciate the distancing because of that. But here's the elephant in the room. You know, and I've asked this to some. What has Tony really done? Like, what has he really done? Like, let's just be real. What has he done? I'm not talking about what he did 14 years when he was 14. I'm not talking about because DeSantis put him there. I'm talking about what has he done? Like what has he really done to bring this disgrace to the sheriff's office to the point to where you are running as a Democrat and you think this is not usually the way it goes down. And for the two blacks, this is not even Israel doing this at this point. These are the two blacks that are just tearing down this black brother. And I'm really not trying to make it a black and white issue, but I'm really asking this question because I'm not sure if they would have done this if Israel had a won.
I think it's
This is
clear.
divide and conquer. This is divide and conquer. But you said something else that you might have missed a slam dunk. This guy's a lawyer. He has no law enforcement experience. So I told you a few minutes ago, I hate when people insult my intelligence. So you have the two black former BSO officers who have the experience. So you mean to tell me that, Mr. Pollock, especially you, that you don't think that we don't see that you think that by connecting your hitch to this guy's wagon that you're going to be the one that's actually running BSO since you know this guy don't have any experience and you're just trying to get in the door so you can throw him under the bus so you can be the one really in charge? Do you think we don't see this has nothing to do with this guy? This is personal. And you're bringing the integrity of Broward County down with you. That's what pisses me off. Because that's the only thing that makes sense to me. You're gonna go and hook up with somebody who you know gonna need some help if he's gonna win, which I highly doubt it. But you've convinced this brother, and he's stupid enough to fall for it.
Well, he don't have to be stupid enough to fall for it. If he think it's enough to push his agenda to get two people that barely got votes, I mean, think about it. Sheriff Tony was in a runoff with somebody that the governor threw out, that the governor fired. They couldn't even beat Israel together. Pollock and Willie Smith could not beat. I mean, Willie Jones could not beat Sheriff Israel combined. So wake up, people. And now all of a sudden they joining together to get on this man's bandwagon. He'll be crazy not to take them for what they worth. If you don't think this man know, okay, I got my work cut out for me. Okay, he's banking on if I get they little 5,000, that's 5,000 more. I could work from there to get the other folks whatever. I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, just like Trump, you could any politician, you could promise people whatever you want to promise. They could be fools. They're fools to think that man cares something about them and gonna give them some kind of political, they're gonna have some kind of political gain. But he could tell them whatever they want to tell him. He's a lawyer. That's what lawyers do. You walk in that courtroom, you know what you know. Please take that down. You walk into that courtroom, you know what you know about your client. Your job is to sell the people over there in that little box that your client is not what they think. And so that's what they do. So why wouldn't he take them on his team? I'm not blaming that man, but it's just a shame that they jump in the ship like that. I'd rather them go just sit down somewhere and fade off into the sky.
I mean, it just really hurts me to know that people will stoop so low. And this is why, these politicians, this is why I try to stay down the middle, because you can't trust these guys. This man got on every single platform and used that as his go-to card that, hey, I'm the only real Democrat that's running in this race. And as soon as you didn't just lose, brother. You got your
mollywop. You got mollywop.
behind what?
He got mollywop.
And 2 weeks later, you're a Republican, basically. That's what you're saying. That this man has his... Forget about the man who's been in law enforcement for several decades, who's been the sheriff now for 2 years. No. He's not qualified. But the lawyer, who's never... If he win, wouldn't even be able to wear the doggone uniform. He's the one that's most qualified. I'm telling you, man, these brothers... Again, I know one. I know one very well. They stoop to a lot. I don't know. They got some explaining to do. I don't know if I'm going to be able to respect these brothers because I just don't think they would have done this if Israel would have won, because neither one of them really attacked Israel. That's why they gave no leverage on Israel, because they only went after one guy. They let Israel do what he wanted to do and say what he wanted to say. So really, it was a two-man race. The two other people might as well not even ran, because it was a two-man's race. And it just really sickens me.
No, it was a four-man's race. Willie and Al was in the race.
If Broward County, just don't fall for the okie doke. Don't let these brothers pull the wool over your eyes. Vote your conscience. Hey, it's spoken. Last topic. We're gonna keep it light on this one. We're gonna say R.I.P. Rest in peace to African American and really Americans' first really black hero, Mr. Chaz Boswell. He lost his battle with colon cancer. And it was unbeknownst to anyone that in the midst of all of his great recent moments that he was going through this challenge. And we got the sad news the other day that 2020 has struck again, and another black hero, a superhero, is now gone. I'm gonna ask you this: you're a mother of two sons. What do you think that his character did for black kids, especially black young men? When you watch that movie and watch how he played that movie and how it made billions of dollars, nobody saw it coming. What type of real legacy do you think he left in the hearts of little black children?
I think it was very empowering to young black boys, because think about it, growing up, it's not hard. Avengers, little young boys look up to Avengers. You got green characters, Incredible Hulk. You got blue characters. You got all these other characters, but never before in the history of Marvel had they had a true black superhero. And in my childhood, I never even seen one. So for the kids to see that, I think it was very empowering for them to believe and know that they can do the things that they want to do. They could do the things that they could be the things that they believe they are. Many of them walk around holding the symbol Wakanda forever. And many of them, Halloween's coming up. I'm sure my son was Black Panther last year. In fact, he's Black Panther any given day because he wear costumes like that. But I'm sure the Black Panther costume is coming back out on the market. I know Target had brought into, they were the only licensed Black Panther people. So if Target is smart to get back out there, they'll go ahead and promote some more Black Panther toys to get the market up, because it's Wakanda forever. It's a statement. He's forever in the hearts and the minds of brown boys and brown girls because of that character that he played, and he played it well. So well that Marvel has been around for many, many years. Okay. And he is the number one selling superhero in the history of Marvel. And he could take that to his grave. That probably won't, I'm just going to go out on a ledge and say won't be erased. I just don't see Marvel doing it any bigger without it being a Black Panther 2 to whatever spinoff that they can spin it.
And again, anybody that knows me, I have friends, and this is not the cliche statement, but I have friends and people that I care about of all races, shades, and creeds. So this is not about that. But when I think about some of the major people in the let's just take the past 10 to 15 years who have brought not just blacks together, but have brought an entire nation, an entire country together. I think about Barack Obama and I think about Brother Chadwick. Because, as I said about Barack Obama, he could not have become president just because black people voted for him. In order to reach this level of success, you have to be a uniter of people, a uniter of races. And so what we saw, as you said, what Marvel recognized and realized is that this brother has brought everybody to the table through this one character. He had movie theaters packed out for months. And forgive me, maybe because I feel this way because I'm an African American man, but I've just seen how black men have been able to do that and accomplish that. Because you know what? We understand and realize in order for us to be successful, we need everybody. See, there's certain races that don't feel that way. They feel that all I need is my people. But we understand as a minority that if we're ever going to reach any level of success, we can't just do it with our own. And that's what this young brother did with Black Panther. That's what he did in the displaying of Jackie Robinson. That's what he was going to do again in Black Panther 2. And so, really, I don't say this lightly. I believe that we lost a real life hero, a person that everybody loved, all races, not just races, all ages. I mean, I went to go see Black Panther, and that's the last thing I would ever do. But that's what this character did. And as we can tell, he wasn't just playing a superhero on the movie screen. He was playing it in real life because he was battling stage 3 and stage 4 colon cancer, and nobody knew about it. Man, I give a big shout out to his circle. Man, because it's hard to keep that level of secret in Hollywood. So shout out to a circle. Go ahead.
And the thing about it, what was I about to say? The thing about it is, you said a lot because, like you said, we need others. That's what Black Lives Matter is all about. It's ironic that he passed during a time like this. Black Lives Matter. We've done Black Lives Matter a lot of times. We've never made this big of a statement, but now you can see we're joined with others all around us. So that's a message, and I'm hoping that that message would just ring true all the way through the election to show we have to come together as people. We cannot keep ourselves divided. The leadership of the country does that enough. And as much as they display us trying to be divisive, we need to push forth and do more in unity and trying to bring each other together. It might be off the topic because I wanted to say it anyway. Prime example, Kamala Harris. They had the virtual thing with Brandy and Monica, and she showed up on there. Stuff like that, and other people was on there, all kind of people. Her and Biden, I commend them for going against the norm of the leadership right now and bringing us together. I mean, you talked about Biden and was like, when he gonna show up? When he gonna show up? Well, I feel like Biden, like you say all the time, he's slow, but he worth waiting for. You know, when we look at the alternative, Biden's slow, but he worth waiting for. So we as the people
He's
have
slow,
to come
but he worth
behind him.
voting for. I'm gonna get a shirt
He
that say
worth
he's
voting.
slow.
That's right. He's
but
slow,
he
but he worth voting for.
All right. Come on, Boy
I
Apparel.
believe
Y'all
that.
with y'all
I
listening. I
believe
just
that.
made y'all some money, Boy Apparel. I want my shirt Sunday. He's
He is
slow,
slow, but he worth voting for. And I believe that to go against the norm of what the country is displaying right now. Because a lot of times in election years, we know a history of election, people vote with whatever the direction the country. We in a war, so let's just vote this way to keep the war. We can't split it right now. I'm hoping that we as the people change that narrative. We cannot continue to allow the country to be divisive when we have people that's promoting unity. And because if this man get elected again, the little unity we've shown, it's going to be so far gone.
Listen, we might as well just let him stay there because we're gonna be a dictator to country. I really do believe, and we wrapping it up. I really do believe,
Wakanda will
man.
be forever.
Yeah,
Wakanda
it's gonna
will be
be
forever.
it's gonna be America great again forever. Because listen, and maybe we'll talk about this next show as we get close to the election. I really do believe, and this sounds so far fetched, but I really do believe there's some deep closet somewhere in America. There's a strategy trying to figure out how Trump can become America's Putin. I really do believe that if we're not careful, that there will be a dictatorship that will birth in this country to the likes we've never seen. Because, as we can tell, think about this, and we're going to end with this. Think about this. There are just as many Trump flags that fly around than American flags. This man is slowly but surely building up this narcissistic cult. And because the way America's voting system is, the electoral college, he can keep winning these states like Georgia and Alabama and these just, I don't want to call them what I'm about to say, states that if he says he wants to be president another 4 years, if he gets elected, there are going to be some people that agree with it. And so you often hear the term thrown around, this is the biggest election of our lifetime. You heard it here first. If we allow this brother, number 9, to get back in, you will hear for the first time in your lifetime, hey, he's doing such a good job. Why? Let's just talk about for all the Republican parties and talk about the forefathers and all of that. I guarantee you're going to hear some rumblings about how can we get this man to stay in office. So that's why it's important to vote. Guys, you know, it's really been the Austin Powers show. You know, and so we pray that we've been able to kind of entertain you, educate you, inform you. We got a lot of little cliches out of this tonight. You know, Uncle Al, Little Willie, number 9, all types of things came out of this show. We'll have the game back next week. We knew they were going to be off, but listen, we love you guys so much. Wanted to make sure we still did our show tonight. So I pray that we have been worth listening to. We get ready to go. Let's go Heat. Let's get out of here. We'll see y'all next time. Peace out. We're out. Let the music come. Let's go. We're gone. Peace.